Hello, I'm Denise Ambresco-Meda. I am the founder of Travel Brilliant. So today I wanted to talk about Asia. We get a lot of travel requests for Asia, and we've sort of compiled a little list of what we think the countries that you must visit at least once in your lifetime. So let's dive right in. I have some notes here, so don't mind me. I want to make sure that I catch everything for you guys. So as you guys probably know, geographically, Asia is tremendous. It stretches from the Mediterranean all the way to the Pacific, and it is a huge landmass. So when we say Asia, I think people tend to think of China, Thailand, Japan, but remember, even Russia, that whole expanse is all part of Asia. So let's jump in with our countries in Asia that we think you need to visit at least once in your lifetime. So first on our list, and it's a huge destination for us here at Travel Brilliant, is Japan. So Japan culturally is so rich. Both the traditional culture of Japan, everything from sumo to geisha to osins, tea ceremonies, visiting the various Asian temples throughout Japan. It's a stunning and rich and deep culture. But they're also super modern and super technologically advanced. You know, most of the stuff that we think of in tech comes from and is developed in Japan. One of the coolest things you can do in Japan is visit vending machines. I know that sounds silly, but the vending machines in Japan, you can get everything. So not just your normal candy bars and sodas, everything in Japan you can get with a vending machine, which is really, really cool. And their culture is just this amazing mashup of sort of very traditional, all the way to super modern. And the food there is amazing. So you've got your noodles, you've got your sushi, you've got all sorts of different food. The food culture in Japan's amazing. So many cool restaurants, not only fine dining restaurants, but great street food, also some really cool niche restaurants, and cafes if you're into anime or Hello Kitty, all of that, and robots, right? There's really cool niche themed kind of around pop culture cafes, but also one of the best places to get food, if you can believe it, in Japan and Tokyo is a 7-Eleven. The food in the 7-Eleven is amazing. So I always tell my tourists, take a stop. Like, you don't have to sit down and eat everything every day. Like, grab some grab and go stuff at the 7-Eleven because it's going to be really cool and fun and amazing. And then take it to like a local park. And again, the cherry blossom festivals, geographically, it's a very long country. So not only do we have sort of a more temperate climate, but we also have high up in the mountains, there's great skiing. To the south, especially some of the islands off the south coast, there's amazing beaches. So Japan has a little bit of everything. And especially my geek travelers, which I have a lot of, we've got Tokyo Disneyland Sea and Tokyo Disneyland. We've got Studio Ghibli. We've got the Universal Studios that has the new Nintendo Land. So when it comes to geek culture and anime and manga and all of that, you can do that in Japan. So let's go. Obviously, China is going to be on our list. China is, again, when we talk about culture, the vast, deep, rich, historical culture in China is amazing. We're going to want to see things like the Great Wall. We're going to want to see the terracotta warriors. But there's also like amazing things all throughout China. There's some really modern cities there as well. Shanghai is a really modern city. There is a Disneyland there as well. But when it comes to culture, it's a really vast, rich culture, and geographically, it's also really large. You've got the, I just want to make sure, the Gobi Desert, right? The Gobi Desert, all the way down to the coast, and everything in between, mountains, rice terraces. It's a beautiful country, and again, food is going to be amazing. Not just your fine dining or your restaurant style, but street food in China is also going to be really, really fantastic. All right, let's jump into Malaysia. Again, remember when we're talking about culture, these are all of these countries are going to have really deep historical cultures because they're old cultures, right? So especially if you're living here in the United States, right? It's a country that's not that old. So even our oldest buildings are pretty young compared to some of the stuff that we're going to see in especially like Asia. So Kuala Lumpur is an amazing modern city. Huge skyscrapers. So the skyscraper there in Kuala Lumpur is famous. It's in a lot of movies, right? So we see that there. You're gonna it's just very multicultural. I'm just making sure I'm catching all of my notes. Oh, it's home to the world's oldest rainforest as well in Malaysia. So you're gonna get amazing food. You're gonna get rich, deep culture. You're gonna have in Malaysia that old rainforest. So if you are interested in seeing some of those Asian animals, the monkeys, the tigers, things that you're not gonna see anywhere else, that is a beautiful destination to do that. And then you can head to a city like Kuala Lumpur, which is tremendous and modern and totally different. And again, street food, street food, street food. I'm gonna just keep harping on that because you don't need a reservation. You don't need to sit down with a menu and a waiter. You're really missing out on some of the best food if you're not hitting those street food vendors. All right, so this next one, I know I'm going fast and furious. I want to get them all in. This is my #1 requested destination for honeymooners. Can you guess? Overwater bungalows in the middle of the Indian Ocean. It's the Maldives. So the Maldives are, when you fly in, your closest airport is actually going to be in Africa, but it's part of Asia. It is a archipelago, atolls. It's a chain of islands, and they're very small, and they're out in that beautiful crystal clear, stunning blue ocean, and they are really known for those overwater bungalows. And shockingly, they're not that expensive. Now, you're going to have a pretty long and usually fairly hefty price tag for your flights. So flights usually take up at least half of the budget on a trip to the Maldives. So you can obviously go really, really high end and stay at like a Four Seasons or something like that. But there are still smaller, more boutique resorts in the Maldives that have those overwater bungalows that are going to be much more price friendly. Again, it's going to be a long trip. Think about taking an entire day to get there and an entire day to come home. So if you're going to go to the Maldives, it's not something you're going to want to do in 4 or 5 days. You really are going to want to commit to at least 10 days because remember, you're going to lose 2 of those in travel and there's going to be some fatigue. But again, this is my #1 requested destination for honeymoons. The snorkeling, the scuba diving, just being out literally in paradise. And again, those Instagrammable photos from your overwater bungalows. All right, let's jump in. The next one is Sri Lanka. So, picture perfect beaches, okay? So, Sri Lanka houses several stunning archaeological sites as well. So, you're gonna have just, again, breathtaking views, fantastic wildlife, beaches, culture, history, nature, all of that in Sri Lanka. And it is a beautiful island set in the Indian Ocean. Okay, so think about what we would imagine with the Maldives. Sri Lanka is similar in terms of its beach and beautiful and oceans, but you're also going to have a little bit more culture there. Not that the Maldives don't have a culture, but again, that sort of ancient temples, colonial era castles, it's a little bit different. The Maldives are a little bit more pristine, and they're a little bit more developed to be like a luxury vacation spot, where Sri Lanka still has a lot of that sort of history involved. And again, wildlife. Thailand. So we wouldn't have a list like this without Thailand. And actually, I have Thailand and Cambodia on this list, and they are often done together. So I will have clients that do both Thailand and Cambodia. Thailand is going to be those beautiful beaches, right? We've seen them in many, many movies. The beach with Leonardo DiCaprio. So they've just reopened being able to visit that. You can't actually go onto the beach, but you can take a boat out there and take some stunning photos. It's also known as the Land of Smiles, so very, very friendly people. Lots of wild rainforest, paddy fields, really small, quaint, charming, tranquil towns and villages. Lots of great scuba diving there as well. And of course, amazing food. So those scenic beaches, temples, all of that stuff for Thailand. And then Cambodia, again, Siem Reap is going to be that temple that we've seen all over social media, all over Instagram. It's that like stunning archaeological site, that temple there, and it's really, really popular. So I always suggest visiting very early in the morning because it is a very popular tourist destination. It can get extremely crowded. So I usually do try to send you guys a little bit off the beaten path, but it's definitely worth seeing. Again, beautiful landscapes, lots of nature, lots of jungles, like mountain jungles. So if you guys are interested in seeing some really amazing primates, your langurs, your, langurs, oh my God, I'm blanking. But anyways, amazing, amazing wildlife there as well. So that's something you're definitely gonna want to do. Actually, it's Angkor Wat is the temple. And then we've got, now remember, Asia's tremendous. So we have Jordan on our list. So I have travelers that have been all over the world, every corner of the world, and they've come back and said that Petra is their favorite spot in the entire world. So if you guys haven't been to, I'm just gonna clear that. If you guys haven't been to Jordan or you're not familiar, Petra is that city that's built into the cliffside. So think about Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, right? Really historical, okay? We've got Roman amphitheaters. The Crusades went through there, so we've got a mash of cultures, right? There's some amazing, I keep saying the word amazing, there are some really stunning camps that you can camp in the desert in Jordan near Petra, and some of them have those kind of glass roofs, and these are not camps in terms of roughing it. These are really luxury experiences. And again, pricing wise, it's really inexpensive once you're in the country. It can be quite expensive to get there with your flights, but Petra is amazing. And in terms of history and culture, and you've got also you're next to the Dead Sea. So you've got, you can ride those camels, you can visit Petra. It's a really amazing experience. India. India has to be on the list, right? Because when we think of that explosion of color in some of those celebrations, right? The beautiful saris, obviously the Taj Mahal, but the amazing food. And don't forget, like, it's not just big bustling cities. There's also amazing beach towns in India. So there's a lot to see, and it's kind of almost better to not spend time in those big cities. You've got rainforests, you've got tea plantations, beautiful beaches, millennia old monuments, right? It's the world's second most populated culture, but from everything from temples to gastronomy to wildlife, there is something for everyone in India. And then, that's it. That's the last one on my list. So I just wanted you guys to know that we are really big fans of travel in Asia. Travel in Asia is opening back up. Depending on what country you're visiting, we'll have to make sure that we research your visa requirements, your health requirements when it comes to vaccines, yeah, we have some amazing tour operators on the ground that will help you see all of these destinations. So depending on which country you're going to, right? Japan, India, the Maldives are going to be a little bit easier in terms of logistics. China, we do have to have a visa in place, so we have to make sure that your tours are established with a reputable tour agency. But that's important anyways, right? We want to make sure that you are safe on your trip. So keep Asia on your list. We are headed back there, and there's so many beautiful destinations for you to visit. If you guys have any questions, drop them in the comment, and I will see you real soon.